Hello everyone. The focus of this presentation is on the misuse of technology in educational settings, which has become an increasingly important issue as students gain access to more powerful tools and platforms. Technology can be an incredible asset for learning, collaboration, and creativity, but it also carries risks when misused, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And so for the purpose of this presentation today, we're going to be looking at three cautionary tales as a result of three recent events happening within schools, both in the U.S. and from around the world. So cautionary tale number one, and before I begin, I just want to add that this article is actually just posted, I think, 2 days ago. So the complete fallout and ramifications of everything from both the legal standpoint and what the school district's doing um, in response to this is still kind of taking place. But anyway, a former student used AI technology to create sexually explicit images of current students and staff. These were essentially what they call deep fake images, and the incident escalated to the point where law enforcement, including the Texas Rangers, became involved. The student was arrested, and the district had to address both safety concerns and the legal implications. This case illustrates just how quickly AI and AI tools can be misused, especially by students who may not fully understand the consequences. To this point, the school district has responded by informing families and holding safety briefings while emphasizing the seriousness of both ethical and legal responsibilities when using technology. The school district that I work in is currently working on implementing an official AI policy. It's been in the works for a little while now. That's taken efforts from various stakeholders, so teachers, students, families, and other community members. And our school district is really trying to be intentful and purposeful about coming up with a sound AI policy that um, encapsulates everything that could um, involve AI in its use. But just from a general school district perspective, any AI policy that a school district puts in place will need to be viewed as a living, breathing document um, in order to fully encapsulate the rapid advances of AI. And just from a school-based administrator point of view, it would probably be very beneficial for the school to schedule class meetings to discuss the legal ramifications of improper use of AI in such a manner, highlighting the legal consequences and the overall impact on the future of these decisions on the students' lives. And so, for many of these students, and for all of these students, their brains are still developing, and I doubt that many take into consideration just, the legal ramifications of what they're doing. Cautionary tale number two comes from Australia, where a recent report revealed a rise in deepfake image-based abuse targeting students in schools. Unlike the previous case we just discussed, this example isn't focused solely on sexualized imagery of specific individuals. Instead, it highlights how AI-generated content can be used more broadly to manipulate or harass students, sometimes anonymously or in ways that aren't sexual but still harmful. The report shows that incidents have doubled in recent months, with many cases affecting female victims. Many of the victims experience fear, humiliation, and psychological harm, even when images aren't shared widely. And so I think an underlying theme here to this case, which is similar to the first, is that AI tools are powerful, accessible, and increasingly misused. But there is that factor, that when misused, there's harm that comes from that manipulation, the manipulation and harassment and legal ramifications. Our school district, just thinking about this in relation to what we have, our school district has guidelines on the ethical use of technology that all families have to sign. We're a one-to-one school, so our schools utilize Chromebooks, and so in order for students to get those, they and their families have to sign that agreement, highlighting that they have reviewed and looked at and the ethical use and terms of use for technology within our school division. But once again, this one also dealing with AI just really highlights AI's rapid evolution. And so while we still don't really have formal guidance on this in its draft form, once again, I just needs to be underscored here that whatever's put in place needs to be constantly revisited to ensure that it's covering all of the advancements within AI. And so I really think the key takeaway from this one is that AI misuse isn't limited to just sexualized context, and it can be pretty broad in scope. And schools have to be prepared to address all the forms of digital harm. And cautionary tale number 3 goes away from AI and focuses in on TikTok and other social media trends. And so recently, at a middle school in California, students participated in a TikTok challenge that involved deliberately overheating school-issued Chromebooks. And I had actually forgot about this trend. I was actually talking about this with a coworker a couple of weeks ago about this TikTok trend, but to see it come up in an article and to read more about it was really interesting. So different from the other two cases, this one does not involve AI, but it highlights a different type of technology misuse. So instead of targeting individuals, it demonstrates how viral trends can lead students to engage in dangerous or destructive behavior without fully understanding the consequences. For our district, I think this once again reinforces our ethical and safe use, terms of technology that we have on there. But I really think that it would benefit all school districts, just in general, to keep in mind that technology use, such as this, can be subtle and hidden, and if you're not looking for it, such as on social media platforms and keeping up with current trends, it might be something that could be missed. And so when it comes to issues such as this, I think a key piece or a key takeaway or highlight from this is that keeping everyone updated and educated, especially parents and guardians, is so important. I would say most parents probably aren't aware of certain trends on TikTok, and probably some probably have no idea what their child's probably watching on TikTok. And from a school-based standpoint, I think that it would be in the benefit of all, to educate parents and keep them up to date on these trends. I think that this would help to foster and sustain, that as schools, we want to have those school-family partnerships in which we work together rather than isolation, providing for the safety and well-being of our students and their children. And for students, like the other cautionary tales, here I think just taking the time to review with them the potential harm to themselves, peers, and repercussions of their actions, I think that could help. Once again, as students' brains are still developing, many may not be taking in to consideration all of this when they make these decisions. And these are my articles. I'll also share the link to each of these articles in my post in D2L. Thank you.